Good morning. My name is Tammy Gerhard, and I am so glad to meet and talk briefly with you this morning as you begin this year's Women's Retreat. I've been asked to share as I have the privilege of being your keynote speaker at next year's Women's Retreat, which will be happening in person September 16th through the 18th at Pilgrim Pines in Swansea, New Hampshire. How exciting after all this Zoom to be able to be in person, face to face next year. I cannot wait. The event planning team has invited me to join you this morning to share a little bit about myself and my theme for next year. Perhaps the most important thing I can share with you is that I've been a Christ follower for the past 26 years of my life, and my walk of love with Jesus colors the way that I see and engage the world around me. God has grown me through relationships and intentional dedicated time in His presence, as well as through experiences, both joyful and challenging, to know and trust Him, to come to know myself and the gifts that He's placed in me, to understand my role within the body of Christ and how to encourage others to discover their gifts and walk in them. And then He sent me, submitted under Him, to serve alongside others in my family and community, making Him known to the world around us. I've been married to my husband, Glenn, for 28 years, and we have 3 young adult children, the youngest of which is still living at home. And I also have a cat named King that I love and run a special Instagram for. But what I want you to know is that we live real. So I trust when we're together, I'll be sharing stories from my life and our home, and I'll get permission from them before I do so. Our world is busy, and at times can get chaotic. I bet yours is too. But even in that, I love my life and I wouldn't trade it. And that is by God's grace, since things have been really challenging over the years. Parenting is hard, marriage is hard, ministry is exhausting and time-consuming. You know, it still stuns me that through it all, my husband and I have stuck together, gotten outside support and counsel when needed, prayed a lot, and that we're here almost 3 decades later, serving Jesus hand in hand. God has been ridiculously good to us. I'm a member of New River Church, which is a Christian Missionary Alliance church located in Manchester, Connecticut. And I've spent the last 4 years running our women's ministry. My husband's an elder in our church. We're small group leaders, and we mentor and encourage younger people in their journeys with Jesus. Outside of church, I blog and I speak, and I serve on the leadership team of Renew, which is the retreat for New England Christian writers and speakers. My husband and I own a Christ-honoring specialty coffee shop in the center of our town, with some of my old students focused on bringing the community together in various ways. One special way is through a community needs board, where customers can post and meet prayer and practical needs for each other. I also oversee the community engagement and charitable giving branch of our shop that works to support organizations bringing hope and light to those around us. We have seen miracles happen at our shop. It's called Silk City Coffee, and I bet I'll get to share part of those with you when we're together next fall. I serve on the leadership team for Manchester, Connecticut United in Prayer, which birthed out of the opening of our coffee shop and is now listed on the Louis Palau City Gospel Movements map. This is a gathering of evangelical churches across Manchester that meet both weekly in our coffee shop and monthly, church to pray for our city. Being a part of this has me in close community and great friendship with many members of Trinity Covenant Church in Manchester, which is your denomination. I hold a master's degree in counseling and I'm a certified counselor who worked in school guidance for over 20 years. I have experience working with severely traumatized individuals, and I currently head up the survivor-led mentor team for the Underground New England as we serve victims of human trafficking in our region. When we get to spend time together next September, we will be discovering how knowing who God is and who we are, who He made us to be, both individually and together, colors the way that we can impact the world around us. My theme for next year is called Walk This Way, and it's based out of Ephesians 5, verses 1 and 2. Let me read that. Follow God's example, therefore, as dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. My hope is that you will mark your calendars today and plan to join me next fall, September 16th through the 18th, 2022, and that time away will change the way that we all walk with him from that day we're there until the day he calls us home. Thank you so much for allowing me this time to introduce myself to you this morning. I cannot wait until we're together face to face, and maybe we can even grab a cup of coffee together up there at Pilgrim Pines. I hope that you have an amazing retreat, and I look forward to seeing you in person next September.